there is one message to be taken from Snow White, Hansel and Gretel, and Cinderella, and countless other children's stories, it is this: old people cannot be trusted. They will lock you in ovens and generally try to devour your youth by any means necessary. Even in your everyday life, you can see it in the eyes of senior citizens, the hunger loosely knitted on their dangling faces as they stumble through the streets, through empty restaurants and gardens, through the parking lot of the local mall where you and the rest of the survivors are held up with only one gun. I refuse to be embarrassed about my fear of the elderly. Old people are terrifying because they have attracted the attention of death. Death paws and examines them, leaving his fingerprints across their bodies and making his intentions clear. He is interested. I don't want to get mixed up in that. I'm afraid just by proximity, I would be thrown in their negotiations, and that would wreck my plans of living forever. But sometimes journalists are called upon to put their fears aside for the sake of capturing a moment in human history. They will crawl through the war zones of time or push their way through the riots of the Washington Post, and every once in a while they will be forced to volunteer at a retirement home for a whole day to unearth favorite gifts for grandchildren on behalf of Highlights magazine, as I was a month ago. To date, I can confidently say it was the bravest thing I've ever done. Former President, nationally recognized hero Franklin Delano Roosevelt once said, "Men are not prisoners of fate, but more so prisoners of their own minds." Even with modern technology today prolonging life, the fear of death, or what we'll call, still imprisons many minds today. In Soren Bowie's, I gotta look up it's a very long title, and I still haven't memorized the title.
What is it?
It's like uncovering nature's creepiest predators,
Old people.
Old people. We examine the fight of inner demons while discovering new and, well, interesting aspects of life. Heritage Park Nursing Home smelled like a stroke. Years of burnt toast were masked by orange-scented cleaning products. I played Rummy 500 in the common room with Ernie, an 83-year-old war veteran and shameless cheater. He was short, but he had the earlobes and nostrils of the giants. You have the earlobes and nostrils of the giants. Yeah, well, you have girl hands. And you said, don't say he said, she said, type of shit. Right.
Yeah.
What do you do all day while sitting around waiting to die? I play on the internet and watch television. That's depressing. Because that's exactly what I do. I had been there all morning, and Ernie was the first senior I had worked up the courage to actually speak to. I almost spoke to a hairless woman with an oxygen tank and a wheelchair, but when I sat down next to her, she grabbed my arm and I panicked. I turned her wheelchair toward the corner, locked the wheels, and she made no effort to change her position for the rest of the day. In the middle of a hand, a woman in glasses thick enough to catch her eyes on fire in sunlight floated over to Ernie and told him that Ingrid had just broken up with Lou, and she heard back in December that Ernie liked Ingrid, and if he still liked her, would he be interested in dating her? Ernie said he wasn't looking for anything serious, but he'd probably be into hooking up if they were drunk at a party or something. They both turned to me. Hey, you think you could get us some beer? You want me to buy you alcohol? Yeah, that would be cool, and you're a cool kid, right? Good, then it's decided. And it was. Ernie wrote out a shopping list of booze and had me deliver it through the back entrance while everyone was eating dinner. He told me to stick around for the party, an invitation that was both flattering yet horrifying. I don't think so. Everyone knows who you are now. They think you're some kind of hero for doing this. A hero? The party was bigger than I expected. We were all packed so tightly into one room that there were a few... I'm sorry, I skipped over a part. The party was bigger than I expected. Everyone wore wool. I knew it because I could smell it. We were all packed so tightly into one room that there were a few precarious moments where one old person or another almost rubbed against me. An old man in a Colonel Mustard suit lay on the bed with his fingers clasped, and I couldn't tell whether he was asleep or dead. With his eyes still closed, he asked me, "Do you want to see a trick?" I told him I did not. He reached down, pulled his pant leg up from the bottom. His leg was shiny and tanner than the rest of them, and it was as bald as his head. He popped something at the top of his shin, twisted the leg sideways in a direction that it wasn't supposed to go, and pried it from his knee, making a ta-da face. Everyone turned when I screamed. They stopped drinking and talking and looked at the old man holding up his leg, and then went back to their conversations. Pretty neat, huh? Where's the rest of your leg? Korea. I lost it there, but take a look at this. He turned the stem over in his hands and held it closer to my face and pointed at some words. Well, what does that say? It... Made in Korea. He dropped it on the bed next to him and leaned in close. So, do you want to get high with me? Your grandchildren give you gifts. Then yes, let's go get high. I had talked to Colonel Mustard for a long time about his family. He had four grandkids who would make a macaroni art and Christmas ornaments out of dough. He wished he could see them more often, and even learned how to use Facebook and play World of Warcraft just so he could talk to them daily. He said the cultural disconnect between kids and seniors was broadening with technology. Nobody thinks the elderly have anything to offer anymore because, well, they don't see the tangible value. Then, after 2.5 bowls, we broke into the kitchen to make nachos. As we sat watching the microwave hum, I started to feel for my new dying friends. I'd maybe been too hard on them. I had mistakenly judged them by the density of their bones rather than the strength of their character. As I was thinking it over, Ernie and the woman with Coke bottle glasses ambled breathlessly into the kitchen. They told us that the staff were out for late night checks and had broken up the party. They can't do anything to us, but they want to know how we got all the booze, so they're looking for you. All right, well, what's the best way out of here? There's no time. We've got to hide you real quick. We spent a silent minute looking frantically around the kitchen for hiding spots. There! Ernie shouted. There! I walked around to meet him and saw exactly where he intended me to hide. It was an industrial-sized oven. It's big enough. Quick, get in. The other two nodded in agreement. I ran, bolted from Heritage Park Senior Center with wings of terror. They're tricky, those old people, and they almost had me. As soon as I got home, I scratched my piece on gifts for grandchildren and instead wrote a warning to all the readers of highlights. A warning that I will now pass on to you. We are careless with our elders today. We don't watch after them like we should, and that is sad. Because when you turn your back on them, they will use that opportunity to cook and eat you.
Look down at your book when you shut it.